if you really want to fix crime in any area, you got to do what works in any area where there's crime. You know what works?
Next on deck with Tim Black.
Good morning. This is Commissioner Anthony Lorenzo Green, and it is like over 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm down here at 48th Street Northeast and Kane Place. President Trump and his Gestapo paid a visit to Deanwood tonight. Metro Transit Police and along with other police agencies shot at individuals on 48th Street. Thankfully, no one was hit, but there were 2 people detained. I'm still waiting for one of those individuals to be released. They've been holding him hostage in the alley in the neighborhood for a couple of hours now. And it's my understanding because he didn't do anything. Feds been invading our neighborhoods for years. Deanwood is no stranger to a long list of federal agencies coming into our community to start nonsense. And tonight is no different. The only difference is that the president made an announcement that he was doing this. So here we are, 2 a.m. in the morning, waiting for an individual to be released so everybody can go to sleep and go about their business. Maybe one of the elected officials that serve on the council that get paid to serve us will speak up and say something. Maybe our mayor will speak up and say something. I don't really care. But what I do care about is the safety of the residents in my community, ensure that they are not being hindered, impacted, and harassed, targeted by any entity in this city whatsoever. Deanwood don't play that.
Shout out to that brother. That's the commissioner here in D.C. And Commissioner Green, I think he said it was. He said something that was very important here, guys. He said, we're not new to this. Meaning, they cracked down on crime in D.C. before. This is not a new thing when you're cracking down on crime. It's not a new thing to be over-policed. But I want you to understand this. If nobody else gets it, I want you to be a watcher. You who watch this show, I want you to know, man, curfews, over-policing, the main outcome of that is what? What do you think the main outcome of that is? The main outcome of that is mostly non-criminal, non-violent, mostly non-doing anything. People get swept up in it. Okay? The punitive nature of our criminal justice system, just getting picked up and having to go through that process for something dumb like being outside can ruin your life. To a large degree, you can lose a job, you can lose a scholarship, you might lose where you live, you might lose your kids. People don't understand this. Like, I understand there's black people going, hey man, we need to stop the violence that's happening in our neighborhoods. And we're gonna get further into that. But you gotta understand, making arbitrary things like walking outside for young black people, putting a target on their backs who may not have done something, you know, just being a black male should not be enough to be harassed by cops, but it's always been that way. There are people that are walking around right now who've listened to content, who've heard us talk about the immigration situation, about deportations. They've heard me talk about it, they heard others talk about it. And they've retweeted stuff and posted stuff and went to live streams like this and be like, yeah. They won't even really listen. They were so emotionally wrapped up in what was being said. Part of my pushback to all the hoopla about deportations in Latino people or people of Latin descent going, we getting profiled is, we already been getting profiled. Now because Trump and the media or whoever are telling you, DC is really bad. We got black people looking at an incident that occurred, that's horrible, going, see, we need to be cracked doing more. We need to be hitting the head more. We need more black people to go to jail. That'll fix it. And it's sad. That's already been happening. I question if people are really seriously invested in any of this other than to feel good because something got done. We've been over policed in the black community. Taking a young man, a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-old person who hasn't hasn't committed a crime, a violent crime, putting them in jail, picking them up, locking them up, holding them, putting them in the thing, like you create more criminals by doing it. You put people in bad situations by doing that. And it's a cycle. So what I'm saying is, if you really want to fix crime in any area, you got to do what works in any area where there's crime. You know what works? It's not over-policing. It's not picking up people for petty shit. That's how we fill the jails up, so they go work the fields for 20 cents or 10 cents an hour. That's what that was for. They told you it's because they dangerous. Well, really, it was just to make money. There's so many books about it. I feel like if you cared, maybe go read the new Jim Crow with Michelle Alexander. Go read that, the new Jim Crow. We got people who I think mean well, who are misinformed, disinformed, and some people just don't want to be informed on a lot of this. The thing that works is investment in resources for young people for their neighborhoods and for those environments. That is the best way to combat crime for anybody in any situation. Anyone. When people get rap sheets, they can't get housing. They don't get job assistance. They can't get loans to go to school. There are things that happen to you that put you further into the underworld, that put you further into the life. If anybody cared about the kids, you know what they do? They will make sure the kids and the parents of those kids had places to be. Instead of a curfew, some kids out on the street because their parents are at work. Some people on the street because their parents are strung out. That's why they out late. Now, what we got is Trump and his administration trying to do what Kamala did. And some of us didn't vote for Kamala. Why? Because she locked up black parents whose kids were truant. Now you support Trump locking up black parents because the kids not in the house. What's the damn difference? Now, I've been a critic of Kamala Harris, but I ain't no damn hypocrite. You can't say Kamala's garbage for trying to lock out black parents because kids ain't going to school and then say Trump is the savior or we got to do something. Now we're going to do a curfew and then charge the parents if the kids ain't home. It's the same thing. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? The plan is so great. Why is this the same plan that Kamala had, which we know was garbage? How is it a good plan? 90% of what Trump does is just for show, for sound bites, for coverage, for show, which forms perception, which forms your reality. My name is Tim Black, and this has been my TED Talk.
What's your message to Democrats who, are in Washington right now or members of the media, the legacy media, who claim that D.C. is a safe place to live and work?
Yeah, you all are the people who painted Black Lives Matter on the road leading to the White House. You're the people who kept chanting that and slapping it on the back of your cars in a bumper sticker. So let me ask you a little something. Is it just because I'm sitting here talking about it and I talked about it in the new media seat inside of the White House press briefing yesterday?
Of 15 years, I've lived on Capitol Hill. I witnessed so many muggings and so much theft. I've lost track. I was carjacked. I have murders on my Ring camera and mass shootings. I witnessed a woman on my block get held up at gunpoint for $20. And my house was set ablaze in an arson with my infant child inside. As a Vanity report that sentence and lies that D.C. is a safe place to live and work, let me just say this. Good. Thank you. Thanks for making the city safe, because no parent should have to go through what my family went through, having the fire department rip open their door to save their infant child. And so thank you for your work on securing the city. My question to you is this. Nancy Pelosi has attacked.
That people are paying attention? I mean, listen, the vast majority of crime is committed against black people in D.C. by other black people in D.C. So if you believed that Black Lives Matter, this would be a massive bipartisan effort in order to clean up this city. I am very much, and your last guest is very much outliers. We happen to be journalists and have social media followings, and we do this profession. But the vast majority of victims of crime, like, for instance, Davon McNeil, I'll never forget that name, a young boy, 6 years old, killed by a stray bullet on my block. What was his crime? Sitting on his front porch. He was there with a phone charger, shot by a stray bullet in a senseless drive-by, something that regularly happened on my block. A young black boy, no one will ever remember his name. And so if I could tell you a quick story that I think is remarkable from the White House yesterday. White House staffers were telling me that part of the painful ironies is that regular corporate media, White House personalities that are famous and renowned regularly complain to them about how dangerous their commute is into the White House from their neighborhoods. They complain about being robbed. They complain about crime. They complain about gangland behavior. Yet when they get in there and get their scripts, they say that DC is safe.
Right.
But behind the scenes, they are telling the truth.
And
they're
therein
frauds,
lies the problem.
And it's good to call them out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And no, I think that with Democrats, it's not Black Lives Matter. It's black votes that matter. And the other, and I mentioned this a moment ago, 77% of black babies in 2024 were born to unwed mothers. 77%. That's more than 3 out of 4.
Goodness.
You think maybe that's part of the problem? You think maybe the media should bring that up? Black mayor and a black chief of a police in D.C., and it's gotten worse, not better. Benny Johnson, we got to leave it there. Good to see you.
Benny Johnson's from Iowa, right? So he comes to the big city from Iowa. I don't know how much crime is in Iowa. I really don't. I really don't know. I don't know what they do there in Iowa. Tip cows. I do agree that there are people that put on bumper stickers of Black Lives Matter who really didn't care about Black lives. It's just a trend, sort of like MAGA for a lot of people. Yeah, I feel like MAGA for a lot of people was like a trendy thing too, like no substance under it, just thought it was the right thing to be about. He said America first. You don't really look into shit, you just kind of go with it. And I'm not talking about Benny particularly, but I'm saying basically there are people, I mean, how much research do MAGA people really do about MAGA? It's like a community for them and they join it and it's you know, whatever. And Black Lives Matter for some people was sort of the same thing. You know, it wasn't even anybody to vote for. It's just a thing. It was an abstract idea, an assertion that black people should live, which is something everybody should be about. But just saying Black Lives Matter for people like Benny was saying white people's lives don't matter, even though that has never been a question in America. But Benny's bringing up some other good points here that need to be addressed, Johnson. He said there's crime in D.C. and no one wants to talk about it. My question to Benny is, how much did you really care about the crime? I mean, dog, I lived in some bad apartments in Maryland, Prince George's County, Maryland, up there near Suitland, over in District Heights, Maryland. And when my apartment got shot in, I moved. Why are you still living places like that? I'm just wondering. I'm not saying you sound like you're full of shit, but you sound like I mean, if I looked at my Ring camera and saw a mass shooting on my Ring camera, dog, from Iowa, you put up with that? I don't know. I'm not saying you're full of shit. I'm just saying, I don't know. The fact that you work for Turning Point USA, The Blaze, and Breitbart kind of makes this a heavy lift for me. Because that's like 3 right-wing organizations, like bap, 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 like in a row, Johnson. It's just a lot, you know, to kind of take you seriously. And to also believe that you really care about black people. And I know it shouldn't matter that you do or you don't. It's just you keep saying it like you do.
I'm going to need to see your receipt, sir.
Before Trump made this move, I didn't hear you talking about it. Before Trump decided to go into D.C., before the Doge white kid got beat up. I'm just wondering because it's but anyway, let's not even make this about Benny. Too much time on Benny, enough on Benny. Let's take it off at face value and say, okay, maybe he's got a point. Anybody can have a point. You look over, you see something on fire and say, hey, something's on fire. Can't you smell it? Now, what do we do about that? Benny, do you go and lock up the people? Or do you put the fire out? And did you find out where the fire started or how the fire began? what's going on, what's causing fires. I would think we want to find out what caused the fire. Let's do some forensics. Let's do some investigation. Let's not just blow up the building. Let's not just lock everybody up. Let's find out what happened. So when we find out what happened, what caused the fire, I'm trying to tell you, the solution to the fires are changing the environments, solving the problem of the environments. People are not just people who sell drugs. People who deal drugs, sell drugs, gangs, gang activity, these things, fighting over resources, fighting over corners, all these things are symptoms of bigger problems, and they deserve to be taken seriously. And if you don't want to take them seriously, won't you just admit you don't give a F? Now, I would say it's all a lot of time. Of course, Trump wouldn't be able to show his side of his show of force. He wouldn't be able to ingratiate himself to a lot of white people who love nothing more than see black people getting in handcuffs. They love it. When I say white people, I mean a certain kind. I'm not talking about all. I'm definitely not talking about all. So we got a catch-22, because I agree, there are liberals who will do a lot of virtual signaling like they give a shit. But are they pushing for the programs that I'm talking about? No. So I'm not even on that. Okay, I want to be clear. I'm not on the they're right, you're wrong, because you're both wrong. You want to do something, but you don't want to do the thing that works, and they don't want to do shit. So we do the wrong thing that doesn't do anything to make it look like we did something, which is what Democrats typically do. They do things like, hey, let's have a hip-hop holiday. We could really use reparations. Hey, I got a better idea. What if we put Rosa Parks on some money for you? Wouldn't you feel good? All right, boy, let's do that. And we could really use some investment in our communities. How about some incubators? And because only 2% of venture capital money is what black people get. We only get 2%. Maybe what we could do is have some investment in our small businesses. Then we can fortify ourselves. Oh, God, that sounds like a great idea, Tim Black. But, hey, how about this instead? How about, how about just Juneteenth? You like Juneteenth? How about if we make it a national holiday? Yeah, let's do that, boy. Go play some music. Someone cut on some Frankie Beverly and Maze. They love that song. Play that. They'll do a line dance. It'll be great. So don't get me wrong, Benny Johnson, I'm not saying you're wrong about liberals, but I'm saying you're the same because you want to do shit that doesn't help but hurts people. There are a good amount of people that are actually sincere. They just don't know enough to be helpful. And they just want to kill a fly with a Uzi. They want to help you, by hurting you. And I got a question, like, is it help if it's not helpful? Yeah, if it's not proven to help, it's not like we don't know what helps. It's not like we don't know what helps. Any poor people, any people that are struggling, any people that can't find adequate housing or stable homes or it's not like there aren't other countries. There are track records of what you need to do to fix it, to help it. It ain't going to happen overnight. It's going to have to take time. It didn't get broke overnight. So it ain't going to be fixed overnight. That's why I question if they even want to fix it. That makes sense? It's not that hard to come up with solutions, if that's what you want. If you like that content, and I know you did, go ahead and become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack VIP. Click the link above here and do that right now. I'll see you on the other side. Wolfpack.